Welcome everyone back to the month of November, and for you who don't know what month it is, it's Zelda month. That's right. So today I thought once again we would look at our favorite green boy, Deku. I had this interesting idea and I kind of wanted to follow through with it, but I just wanted to look at all of Deku's main fights. The one where we got super pumped to see him, and the ones that affected his character. So, me, Hero D, or I, Hero D, I guess, whatever, are going to go through all of the main fights and rank them on how hype they are, 1 through 10 hypeness, and just see how they affected his character and whatnot. There is a couple rules. First off, I'm not including any flashbacks in them. This is just about the fight. Second off, this is just strictly Deku, no side characters or anything out. Okay, without further ado, let's get into it. The first fight I want to look at isn't really a fight, but it's Deku versus the slime monster. The only reason I'm including this is because it shows us how Deku is. We just saw him get told by his favorite hero he could never be a true hero, and he still tries to save his frenemy. Anyways, so with all of that, we see right away Deku is a hero, and we see why he's able to get his quirk and all of this. It's super good, but super short, and the only hype part is when Deku first tries something. The rest is just kind of So I give this a 5 out of 10 on hypeness. It's good, but for a middle ground. Moving on. The UA training, Deku versus Bakugo. Now technically this is a 2v2, but a lot of this fight is just between Deku and Bakugo. And the big thing is, this is obviously their focus. It's a rival fight, which is already amazing. The big thing I want to talk about this is the beginning is so hype. We know Bakugo is insanely strong, so to see Deku out of everyone land the first hit really starts a fight going. The major drawback for this one, however, is the more the fight goes on, the less hype it gets. Deku kind of runs away for a little and doesn't really do anything, and then gets his ass hit. Besides all of that though, I actually really like the ending of Deku using his power to win the object but not the fight. So with all of that accounted for, I'm gonna give it a 7 out of 10. It's good, but not great, and all the hype kind of is more towards the beginning. The big thing is, it does still feel like a loss for Deku more than a win. The next big fight I'm looking at is Deku versus Shinso. Shinso. I'm going with Shinsho. Anyways, this again isn't super a fight, and all the fighting just kind of takes place last second. In the UA Sports Festival, we see Deku take on someone who can control you using his voice. Deku gets controlled, and right before he walks out of bounds, his power activates, and all the past users basically force him to wake up from this trance. After this, we see Deku kind of just force the other character, who I'm not pronouncing his name again, out of the ring. This was pretty cool, and we got to see how his power worked a little more, and that they could help him if absolutely needed. However, the fight's kind of boring. It's super memorable, but I still just have to give it a 6 out of 10. Not super hype if you ask me. But moving on, Deku versus Todoroki. This fight had to get so many people into the show, or at least solidified its place if you ask me. Once again, it's in the UA Sports Festival, but Deku goes all out. He can't quite control his smashes yet, so he's breaking his bones fighting him. I really like this fight for the big reason is a lot of it isn't Deku trying to win. He's playing defensively, trying to show Todoroki that it's his power. This is really cool because it really shows us Deku is a type of character who rather help someone than win. So, I have to give this an 8 out of 10. It's honestly the best fight up to this point and really shows Deku in a new light. Todoroki also uses his flame power for the first time and is just spectacular. The reason it isn't higher is because the action's cool, but it kind of gets repetitive even when Deku lands some of the hits safely. And besides that, it's just kind of, I don't know, over too quickly if you ask me, and a lot of this fight is more focused on Todoroki. So, 8 out of 10 still, pretty good. Moving on! Deku versus a Hero Killer. Okay, here's the thing. This fight is 3 versus 1 technically, but it's so good, holy shit. This was my favorite fight for a long time. The thing is, I love the fact, there's so many good facts in there. Okay, to set it up real fast, it's Ida is trying to get revenge for his brother, and the Hero Killer is about to kill him. But then we see Deku finally able to use his power somewhat, show up and start kicking some ass, and it's like, yeah, hypeness, right out the gate. But this fight isn't even close to over. Finally, Deku actually gets stunned, but right before Ida was killed again, Todoroki shows up and is like, Fire Blast, bitch! Ugh. So now, it's Deku and Todoroki against the Hero Killer. They're keeping him off and stuff, but they're not doing anything to the Hero Killer. They're just playing defensively again. Finally, Ida gets back up to save Todoroki, and then they use a special 3 combo move, and it's like, yes! It's so good. This is honestly hype. I also love how we see that other characters view Deku as a hero too. The Hero Killer's main MO is killing false heroes, and he actually chooses to save Deku in the end for Nomu. This is such a subtle detail and stuff, but like, with everything combined, this fight is a 9 out of 10, and it's still so good. So, I gotta stop talking. Moving on. Deku vs All Might. This is unfair, but it's hype as hell. All Might's my favorite character in this entire show. To finally see him kind of let loose is amazing. The first thing he does is just punch a line through the arena. Why? I don't care, it's awesome. This fight is really good for Deku too, because he's working with his main rival, Bakugo, and we see how they're similar and different in the same way. Again, I just really like their dynamic and how Deku wants to run and Bakugo wants to fight. I also love how the conclusion they come to is they need to do both to win. I'm giving this an 8 out of 10 though, for the sheer reason it's kind of unfair, and they win, but in kind of a stupid way. All Might would clap their cheeks with one punch. I will say, there was some still great moments in him. Like when All Might just breaks Deku's back, or when he uses him as a fucking baseball bat. To be fair, Deku and Kachan has some good moments too, but anyways. This fight does kind of revolve around All Might for me, and just as a Deku fight, an 8 out of 10. Deku vs Muscular. This fight is kind of underwhelming when I watched it again. I still really like it, but the big problem I have with it is there's really only one good moment in it. Most of this fight is Deku trying to run away to protect Koda, and that's good and all, but when he finally chooses to fight, we see he's way underpowered, I mean. So he has to use full cowling, one fall at 100%, something we haven't really seen him do in a long time, and it doesn't work. To be honest, I kind of think when he did the 100% smash, it's probably more like 50% of his power, just some stuff we see later on. Not minding that, he finally uses 1,000,000% of his power. That's the only good part of this fight. So, with everything together, I have to give it a 7 out of 10. Again, like, it's hard for me to believe that's 1,000,000% because it just makes his villain too strong, almost. Anyways, I still like the fight, but it's okay. Deku vs Bakugo again. This is really the second time, and Deku's improved so much since the first time. We've all been waiting for this. I really like this because honestly pushes Deku and Bakugo further in their character development. I like how Deku chooses not to be a punching bag anymore and finally stands up for himself. I'm not a huge fan how he lost though, because I'm biased and I love Deku, but I understand why he did. This fight is honestly amazing, and to actually see Deku improve with his percentage too, going all the way up to 8%, is really cool and actually like shakes the characters too. The animation is so well done and everything is so great, even Gremlin Bakugo. I have to give this one an 8 out of 10. And who doesn't love a rival fight anyways? It's a little short, but I like the outcome and I like how no one gets off scotch-free. And I love how they actually kind of talk about their issues after this, and it does push Deku a little further. Deku vs. Overhaul. Holy shit! Oh my god. Okay. So, this is a very interesting fight because it's so good, and Overhaul was getting built up this entire time. To see Deku finally go at it in multiple stages is just amazing. I love how Deku uses 20% and has a new max and is able to hit him, but Overhaul won't go down, and they're both fighting for this little girl, and those stakes and just everything about this fight is so amazing. To be fair, it only gets better. It's kind of short, but it's the perfect amount of like action, if you help me. It doesn't super push Deku along at all, but it's still so good. So basically, after Deku uses 20%, he actually gets Eri, and we find her power is to reverse time for someone. Anyways, Deku figured this out shortly, and he becomes Deku at 100% power. This time, he's actually fighting a super powered Overhaul in a giant monster form, and he destroys him. It's one of those fights in anime that people will be watching for years to come, and I was so happy to kind of see it when it first came out. It just felt like anime history almost. And just all of this, all of everything in this fight makes it a 10 out of 10. This fight is stunning and I love watching it. Okay, final fight. And I don't really think this one will hold up, but you know, we'll see. So Deku vs. Gentle Criminal. Holy shit, this fight stood up, and from oh my fucking, I don't care what I just said, this fight is another 10 out of 10, and I'm gonna explain why. I think this fight, the other fight is a 10 out of 10 and just hypeness. This is a 10 out of 10 fight for Deku though. The big difference is this, we see Deku in another light through Gentle Criminal, because we see this is what Deku would have became, or could have became. I also just love Gentle Criminal, and I think he's one of the best criminals just because he's so likable. And his quirk is actually pretty powerful, and I love his relationship with everything. But anyways, this fight is so perfect. The perfect length, and I love how Deku didn't have to almost cheat to win. He used just his skill, and he did it. Even when they get powered up, he didn't like have to push himself too much. I am a big old softie, and I also like the ending where everyone's kind of happy and it's just a good ending. Deku will get a little penalty for everything he did, but at the end of the day, like, he almost got off scotch-free, which is just, it makes my heart happy, okay? Anyways, 10 out of 10 for that fight, and that is all right now. Thanks for watching this video. I know it was super weird and I'm not expecting it to do amazing, but if you liked it, let me know in the comments and like and subscribe the video. Also, comment down what your favorite fight in the series is. I would love to kind of maybe do another one of these with like all the side characters or Bakugo or stuff like this. I know I didn't include every fight Deku's a part of, but these are the fights, in my opinion, the most important fights. With all of that though, I'm gonna get going. It was great to do this. I'll see you next week, and don't forget to go plus ultra!